Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing M&B Bannerlord and we're doing the Realm of Thrones mod, so the Game of Thrones total conversion mod that we've been covering a ton recently. The topic of today's video is the armor of Daenerys' army. So I was going to do a showcase video like I did for the Seven Kingdoms, where I just went over like iconic suits of armor for soldiers from Essos. But then I started it and there was way too many suits of armor, so I decided to split it in half, and I'm doing the first half today, and it's kind of like the far east of Essos, which also just happens to make up all the different factions that support Daenerys in the storyline. So we've got like sort of this section here, and then the other video will be focusing on the Western Essos, or the Free Cities. So today we're going to focus on Daenerys' people, and so starting us off at the number 5th best one is the Dothraki armor, and that's what we're going to start it off with. So let's just take a look at it. And so you can see us wearing it here. Pretty cool looking, I think. I think they did a great job appearance-wise trying to make this look A, like it does from the show, and B, just cool in general. Obviously it gives off the appearance of being extremely light because it covers an extremely small portion of the body, especially the vital areas. Ironically, I mean, the coverage down here would be little more than regular clothing, but at least it covers everything, whereas up here the character is not covering any of their vital areas unless you consider their right lung to be the most important part, because it's covering a good chunk of it. As for the pieces that make up this armor, they don't have any headwear because Dothraki don't wear headwear, and so it makes sense that they don't have it in this in the mod. But I did put the noble default helmet on here, which you can get pretty easily in the mod. Most of the spouses in the game, at least if they're not wearing a helmet, when you talk to them out and about, that is a good sign that they have the noble default, which gives you 50 head armor, so it's an unfair advantage to this suit of armor, but it still takes the number 5 spot because the rest of the armor is so light. But it starts with the noble default for the helmet. Then we have the Dothraki shoulders for the shoulder/cape slot, the Dothraki armor for the torso, the Dothraki bracers for the arms, and the Dothraki boots for the boots. So all of it's named other than the head slot. With all that in mind, the total stats on this suit of armor are going to be an AAR, or average armor rating, of 33.25. So pretty low, but not nearly as low as it probably realistically should be. Like I said, the noble default helmet definitely brings that average up a little bit. But it does have a really light weight of only 6.8 kilograms. So yes, it's offers pretty bad armor protection and probably should offer even worse, but it weighs almost nothing, so that's a serious advantage there. So that is the number 5 spot for the Daenerys army here in Essos, and it is the Dothraki armor. So let's move on to number 4. Alright, so at the number 4 spot we have the Ghiscari armor. Now this one's pretty loosely tied to Daenerys, because in the show, I don't know that any of the Ghiscari soldiers actually, or books, actually end up siding with Daenerys. I mean, they're kind of in that region, and they're mentioned a bunch of times, but they're usually being used against her. But that being said, in the mod here, you will find a lot of Ghiscari troops in Daenerys and her vassals' armies, just because they come from that region of the map. And so these are the lockstep Ghiscari troops that are supposed to be imitation of the actual Ghiscari Empire, except in the story they're actually described as not being all that impressive. But with that in mind, the suit of armor is pretty cool and unique looking, so I figured I'd feature it here. As for the pieces that make this suit of armor up, we have the Ghiscari helmet, which offers 36 head armor, the Ghiscari shoulders, which give you 14 body armor and 7 arm armor, the Ghiscari armor, which gives you 35 body armor, 8 leg armor, and 5 arm armor, then the Ghiscari bracers, which give you 20 arm armor, and the Ghiscari boots, which give you 20 leg armor. So all in all, again, it looks extremely light, but it actually offers better protection than you would think from how light it looks, and it is all unique stuff added to the mod. None of this is vanilla assets, and I think it all looks pretty dang good. So the Ghiscari armor definitely gets a pass for me aesthetically. Stat-wise for the suit of armor, we've got a slight upgrade from the Dothraki armor with an AAR, or average armor rating, of 36.25, and it is a bit heavier, but still quite light and lighter than a lot of suits of armor in the game at only 10.5 kilograms. So pretty solid stuff all the way around. Definitely very unique, and roleplay-wise, definitely makes you feel unique and helps you stand out. So yes, that is number 4, the Ghiscari armor. Let's move on to the number 3 spot for Daenerys' army. At the number 3 spot, we have the Unsullied Armor, and now this is going to be obviously the armor used by the Unsullied troops in the show and the book. So pretty iconic stuff. You've probably seen it enough times to recognize it at a glance, and it actually, I think, looks pretty great in the mod too. So this suit of armor is made up primarily of the pieces that are labeled for it. Makes sense: the Unsullied helmet, the Unsullied elite armor, the Unsullied gloves, and the Unsullied boots. But the Unsullied suit of armor, because it's got the integrated shoulders into the body armor, doesn't have a thing thing of neck armor, and I didn't want the suit of armor to be at any sort of a disadvantage or have an empty slot, so I added the Valyrian gorget to it. So the stats for this: the helmet has 38 head armor, the gorget offers 15 body armor, the elite armor offers 40 body armor, 10 leg armor, and 10 arm armor. Then the unsullied gloves give you 20 arm armor, and the unsullied boots give you 22 leg armor. So pretty solid all around, especially considering how light it looks. Like I said, I added the gorget. I think that any suit of armor designed into any mod should always fill all the slots, whether it's an invisible piece or not. I think that, so like I would say that if the mod author wants to continue not having dedicated neck/shoulder armor for any of these suits of armor, then they should have a invisible piece that just adds like 15 to 20 body armor or whatever, or maybe 15 body armor and 5 arm armor or something like that, to make sure that all of the unique and cool looking suits of armor also hold up stat wise. But in any case, this one does look quite good, and the stats are good considering that it is supposed to be light armor. The overall stats for the suit of armor: we have an AAR or average armor rating of 38.75, so a decent step above the Ghiscari armor, and a weight of only 10 kilograms, so still quite light considering that it offers better armor than either of the two suits that we've already looked at so far. Of course, like I said, it's very iconic, and if you pair it with the Unsullied shield and Unsullied spear, and then some sort of a short sword — I just have the Dornish sword here — it's very iconic and matches the show extremely well. So like I said, that's the Unsullied armor, which is the number 3 spot on this list. Let's move on to the number 2 spot. Alright, at the number 2 spot, the runner-up here, we have the Targaryen Armor, and now this makes sense to be on the list, as it is literally Daenerys' army, so these are her highest tier troops. A suit of armor that looks pretty much exactly like this. So, very cool looking, extremely unique. They're mostly just going off of creativity here, if not concept art from the books, because we never see any sort of dedicated Targaryen armor in the main series Game of Thrones. I have not yet seen House of the Dragon, so if something appears in there, I apologize. But this, I think, looks very cool and definitely fits the aesthetic that I would associate with a medieval band of dragon lords to look like. So, pretty cool, very unique, very well done models. It all looks super good. This suit of armor is made up of the following pieces: the Valerian helmet with 45 head armor, the Valerian pauldrons with 20 body armor and 14 arm armor, the Targaryen plate armor, which offers 50 body armor, 12 leg armor, and 10 arm armor, the Valerian plate gloves, which give 26 arm armor, and the Valerian plate boots 2, which give 26 leg armor. All put together, I think it looks great. It definitely screams Targaryen. I mean, it also helps I paired it with Valyrian steel sword type 4, Targaryen shield, and a lance, because, you know, this kind of just reminds me of a heavier lancer unit, but obviously Targaryen themed. So very, very cool. I like it a lot. Definitely hard to compete with this one. Total stat-wise for the Targaryen armor, we have a huge step up above the first 3 on this list with an AAR or average armor rating of 50.75, so that's a giant leap over the Unsullied, and obviously even bigger over the Ghiscari and Dothraki. This one does have a weight of 18.1 kilograms, so it's heavy, but not ridiculously heavy considering how much better armor value it has in general. So yeah, so that is the Targaryen armor, which takes the number 2 spot on this list. Let's finally move on to the number 1 best suit of armor for the armor of Daenerys' army. Alright, finally at number 1 we have the Valerian Armor, and now this is for the other faction of Valyrian troops in this game, and I won't spoil it for you because it's A, book spoilers, and I know not everyone's read the books yet, and B, it's obviously an interesting part of the game to see the division between the two factions. But anyway, this armor is very, very cool. I arguably like how it looks better than the Targaryen armor. I think it looks even better. Slightly more realistic, which is always a winning point for me, but also I just really like the general aesthetic of it. So this suit of armor is made up of the following pieces: the Valerian Lord helmet, which gives you 55 head armor, the Valerian Lord pauldrons, which give you 20 body armor and 14 arm armor, the Valerian Lord armor, which gives you 50 body armor, 12 leg armor, and 10 arm armor, the Valerian plate gloves, which give you 26 arm armor, and the Valerian plate boots, which give you 26 leg armor. All in all, whereas the Targaryen armor was very black themed, this one is a silverish steel look, which obviously I prefer just because I really like the way that it looks, very shiny and such. I think overall it's probably one of the most unique armor types added to the mod, for one reason being that obviously they're not imitating a concept from the TV show. I'm sure that either A, maybe it's imitating something from House of the Dragon, or B, it's based on concept art from the books, but I genuinely really, really like the way this one looks. And obviously, since it takes the #1 spot, that should tell you that the stats on this one are also quite good. It has an AAR, or average armor rating, of 53.25, so not a huge jump, but a noticeable jump over the Targaryen armor, and it has a weight of 18.2 kilograms, so only slightly heavier than the Targaryen armor. So basically better in every way, because it's got significantly better armor value. I think it looks a lot better, and it's only slightly heavier, so no big deal there. So yeah, that is all 5 of the suits of armor from this mod that I've isolated as the Daenerys / Targaryen branch of Essos. Now obviously they're not dedicated, so the Dothraki, the Ghiscari, and the Unsullied, they are their own factions. It just so happens that both in the lore and in the game, they are allied with the Valyrian, otherwise known as Targaryen faction in the storyline. So that's all 5 of them. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Awesome armor, so kudos to the mod authors for that. But that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.